HiveMind Network Online, Channel 0093. Secure uplink initiated. Stinger OS now active. Welcome, Agent.
Hi there everyone, this is Jerobi, here to show you around the Alpha 0.3 of the Stinger OS for 19.4. Thank you for joining us. If it's your first time with us, we highly recommend checking out the intro to the Stinger OS and cyber warfare. You can find a link to that video in the description below or at the end of this video. In this one, we're going to be taking a look at the password attack module and seeing how we can infiltrate targets' passwords with a very specific intel, and how we can improve our chances of getting into a password more quickly by doing more recon and using very specific dictionary attacks against that target. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to open up the second workspace.
Password attack and intrusion module initiated.
And what this module is all about is accessing someone's email. And the way you do that is you have to have a very specific target URL, so a very specific subdomain, and then their username. Obviously, you can't hack into an account that doesn't exist, so you have to make sure you have the credentials right there. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this attack against the Rosenberg Clinic, a entity everyone knows well from the first Alpha mission and also from the Black Watchman. But in order to do so, we need to gather a little bit of recon information about them before we can do this password attack. So I'm going to go in here and open up a couple DNS attacks.
Information gathering module initiated. Information gathering module initiated.
So I've opened up two separate DNS and vhost mapping platforms here within one workspace. You can have as many of these as you want open within one workspace. The reason we have the different workspaces is so you have a little bit of a cleaner look for different kinds of modules. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and figure out how we can access an email server within the Rosenberg Clinic. The way we're going to do that is we're going to run an SFuzzer scan and an OSINT scan against them and see if we can find a useful subdomain we can go and use for our password attack. So the first thing we're going to do here is do an SFuzzer attack against the Rosenberg Clinic. And we're going to do this for 45 seconds so we can really get a sense of trying to get as much as we can on them. Remember, the longer it runs, the more the dictionary attack is going to run through that scan and find more possible subdomains. So we're going to let that run. Meanwhile, we'll come over here and we're going to do an OSINT scan on the Rosenberg Clinic. And this one we're going to use Google to search the public records and see if we can find any other information about them here. We're going to do that for the first 1,000 results. Once again, the reason that we're doing this is to try and find a intranet or email server that the Rosenberg Clinic uses that we can infiltrate, because if we don't have the specific subdomain, we can't do anything with our password attack. So with the OSINT scan, we got two here. We have their website and we have the CDN. Neither of those are useful for a subdomain attack, or for a password attack, excuse me. Let's see if we found anything within our SFuzzer. So in our SFuzzer, you can see we have a webmail here. Now, webmail is exactly what we're looking for. So we're going to use this and we're going to put it into our password attack, and we're going to target a known entity at the Rosenberg Clinic, Mario Nathaniel. Our Black Watchman players will know Dr. Nathaniel well. And if you remember from Alpha 0.2, in the Malto CE Intel graph, he was connected to the Rosenberg Clinic and therefore connected to the ROPA group. And so our target URL, which we just found, is webmail.rosenbergclinic.com. And the target username is mnathaniel.
Target acquired. Awaiting variables to launch attack.
So now we have what we need to perform an attack. So I'm going to launch one right away, and it's going to take a long time, and then I'll explain why we're not actually going to use that one and why we're going to open up a second one. So I'm going to do rock you here.
Attack launched.
And I'm going to let it run, and you see it's got 3 minutes to run that attack, so it's going to take a while. I'll explain why that might not be the best strategy at this stage. So what we'll do is we'll open up another password attack here.
Password attack and intrusion module initiated.
And we're doing it once again to webmail at Rosenberg Clinic. And we are looking at M. Nathaniel.
Target acquired. Awaiting variables to launch attack.
So you can see this one is still running. It's going through the dictionary there and trying out various things. So what these dictionaries are is every time a hacking group or an individual hacker gets access to a wide variety of passwords from a website, they'll dump those passwords online, and other hackers can use that information to build up dictionaries of common passwords. So RockU, the one that we have running in the other workstation, has 32 million of the most commonly used passwords from all of those. So it's kind of like a Swiss Army knife that has taken the 32 million most common and will run through those. That is still quite a lot. Like we said, it'll still take 3 minutes. We have John the Ripper, which is the most useful right away, but not necessarily the most useful in the long term. It takes the 1 million most commonly used passwords and runs through those. So if you see the difference here, this one's 3 minutes and 12 seconds. This one's 6 seconds. So it's very fast to run through those million words in the dictionary. But the reason that you might not always want to use it is because these are only the 1 million most commonly used passwords. So a more secure target, someone that knows a little bit more about cybersecurity, likely isn't using one of those common passwords. But you may as well try to use John the Ripper earlier on in your investigation, because you might get lucky and you might stumble upon it very quickly. The other dictionaries we have here are the Gmail and Hotmail. Now, as you can see, there are a ton of passwords in this dictionary because there have been a lot of Gmail and Hotmail password dumps over the history of both of those services. So this is an agglomeration of all of that. But this is a dictionary you might want to use more often when you are dealing with someone's personal email account, because oftentimes people's Gmail accounts or Hotmail accounts are their personal accounts, and so the kinds of passwords they will use will be similar on other personal accounts. Now, we also have eHarmony here. Now, eHarmony is 12 million. This is to do with a recent eHarmony password dump, and this is going to be more secondary.
Password attack unsuccessful.
You can see here we had an unsuccessful password attack when we went through and used the RockU because we did not give it enough information, and unfortunately it did not work. I'll explain why that was, but as you can see, even sometimes when you let it run for a long time, if you haven't given it the correct parameters and the correct intel, you're going to get an unsuccessful attack. So with the eHarmony, it's much more about the secondary accounts, because most people's eHarmony account is not their first account. They have an email or something else first, and so they're using these eHarmony passwords as a secondary account. So if you are trying to hack into someone else's secondary account, eHarmony might be the way to go. LinkedIn, huge library of words there, but the thing about the LinkedIn one is that people often use their LinkedIn email accounts when it is specific to corporate email accounts or business email accounts. So if you're trying to log into a corporate intranet, someone's business email, that kind of thing, LinkedIn dictionary might be the way to go. And then finally here, you have social media. Once again, huge library, because this is Facebook leaks, Twitter leaks, Instagram, all of that kind of stuff. So this one, once again, might be more useful when you're trying to go after someone's secondary account or else specifically one of their social media accounts. A couple other points I'll touch on here. So now you see if we put in all of these, it's going to be 790 million words to go through a dictionary. Now that is far too much, so your access is denied. The reason your access is denied is because 19.4 only has a limited number of computing resources to give to you for your mission, and to run through 790 million passwords, that's going to take a long time. It's going to take a lot of computing. The reason it's going to take so long, it's going to take so much computing, is not only the word count, it's also certain targets are going to be more well protected, meaning their servers have things like CAPTCHA blocks or IP blocks, meaning there can only be a certain number of attempts at a password before there's either a CAPTCHA or that IP is not allowed to attempt another password. So this system has to circumvent that, and all of that kind of stuff is really going to take computing power. So you, as a junior agent at the moment of 19.4, do not have access to that much computing power, so you will be denied. If your request is currently being denied, a way to do that is to try a different dictionary or else include more variables. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to stick with John the Ripper, which is, like I said, the most simple dictionary because it is the most common. But we're going to improve our odds a little bit by adding some information into the Prince config. Now what the Prince config does is it takes recon information that you've gathered and compares it against the target and the dictionary list of names. So for instance, it will look at first name, last name, age, and various variables, where someone's from, where they went to school, the name of their spouse, their children, that kind of thing, their interests, and it will validate whether or not that information is known to be true about them online, but will also look at the metadata of the dictionaries and pair them with similar people that fit their profile. Because if you're trying to hack into someone's email account, the more information you can know about them, the more likely you are to guess the correct password. A business person from Japan who's 50 is going to have very different password preferences than an 18-year-old from the States. And so by knowing more about someone, the system, which is it's a password guessing algorithm, the algorithm itself is going to be much more efficient the more you can tell it about your target. So for right now, and for the Alpha 0.3 mission that you have, we're going to provide you that intel. We're going to provide you the names, the age, all of that kind of stuff. But in real 19.4 missions, this is the kind of thing that you're going to need to gather yourself during the recon phase. When you're checking out a target, trying to get more information about them, these are the kinds of things you're going to be gathering, and this is what's going to help the Prince config create a better, reshuffle the dictionary so it can go through it faster and link your target with similar people, build a similar profile for them. So what we're going to do is, we know about Dr. Nathaniel, Mario Nathaniel, from the Black Watchman. There's a very specific mission where you get a background report about him. So we're going to take information from that background report and we're going to put it in here, which is going to improve our odds. So from the report, we know that his name is Mario. His last name is Nathaniel. Now see here, I misspelt it. What that means is that it checked online and saw that Nathaniel's email is not connected with someone named Nathaniel. It is, in fact, properly spelled. Not like that either, apparently. Now for his age, we're going to put 64. The other variables are interest, school, where he'd be from, that kind of thing. So we know, once again, from that intel report within the Black Watchman, that his wife's name is Jennifer, that one of his children's name is Mark, and that the other one's name is Dorothy. Now look, we've reshuffled the dictionary 60%. That means we built up quite a good profile of what kind of person Mario Nathaniel is in terms of the likely passwords he is to use. We've greatly reduced our time, and now the system is going to be able to be much more efficient at cracking this password. So let's run it and see what we can find.
Attack launched. Password successfully compromised.
We compromised the password in 3 seconds thanks to the intel that we had already gathered. So the password is Bedlam. Veteran Black Watchman players will know what to do with that password for Mario Nathaniel. And for the rest of you, that shows you how you perform a password attack against a target. So first, you have to gather the subdomain specific to the target's email. Then you have to figure out what their username is, and then from there, build up a profile, find out their name, their age, their interests, any kind of recon information you can, and then think about, okay, what kind of email is it? Is it a corporate account? Is it a secondary email? Is it a personal email? And then figure out which dictionary is going to work best for your attack. Once you figure all of that out, we're going to build in that kind of logical process within our missions. You're going to be able to figure out which dictionary you want to use, and you're going to be able to, if you do your recon correctly, hopefully you're going to be able to crack your password. So thank you so much for watching. In the next video, we're going to be going over the Turbine C2 registry. So look forward to that, and thank you so much.
Closing root access. Goodbye.
You can find more 19.4 tutorials here, like an intro to the Stinger OS, a look into the password attack module, the Turbine C2 registry, plus you can find a full playlist of hacking tools currently available in the game. You can also pre-order 19.4 by clicking on the bottom right hand of the screen. Community links to our Discord server and dedicated forums can be found in the description below.